Hey, John.
Yes.
Real quick, not everybody marked their attendance today, so if you haven't yet, can you do that? And if you don't know how, I'm talking about that.
Okay, so if everybody just goes over to google.com real quick. So Chrome Inspector, you're basically inspecting your files, but in a more interactive way, basically like through the browser. And by virtue of doing that, you could change things. There is actually a way to have a Google Developer Tools workflow where you have your files here, and you can the things that you're doing, the edits that you're making, and the changes, you can save that back to the files on your computer. But that's something you would have to look into. Google's website would have a lot more information if you just Google their Google Developer Tools docs. So basically, you, as I just said, and we'll be coming back to this in the next class. So just to demo that for you, I have Google Developer Tools open, and this real quick. So does anybody know how to get into Google Developer Tools? There's two different ways that we could do that. Right-clicking. Oh, there's actually three ways then. Right-click, inspect, and what's the keyboard command? Oh, F12. Maybe there's four ways. I usually use Command Option I to get in there, and then there's also View Developer, and we have here Developer Tools. So mine just opened up here. So I'll have to bring it over here. If you click on the three buttons here, you can mess with how you dock the developer tool. So you could go to the left, you can have it open in a separate window, you could have it docked to the bottom, you could have it to the right. So we'll just pop it on the bottom. And then you go over to Elements here in the top left. Everybody can see this okay? Okay, great. And basically, you just start hovering over your elements, and you'll start to see how you can just like start to get really deep into this page and see what's going on. As a developer, you'll have people like coming to you and going, "Oh wow, you're a developer. I really want a website." And you go, "Okay, well, what do you want on your website?" And they go, "Oh well, I like this website, and I like this website, and I like this website." And so basically, you're going to have to combine all these websites into like one really cool looking website for that client. And one of the ways to do it is not only through tutorials and learning, but through DevTools. You just go to that whatever website that they like, you just start hacking through it and kind of seeing what they did. So if you can't find the element inside of this console here, a good thing to do is just click on this arrow, and basically, bam, I just clicked on the Google element. And see if I can find the text. Oh, it's an image. So they're using an image, the Google image. So they have padding top here, width 272. So you try to like mess with the width. That didn't really do anything. Maybe I'll just go over here and mess with the padding a little bit. Yeah, so just messed up their padding. Here's the color. You get this. If you click on it, you get this really cool color picker tool. You can change the color. See if that does anything. Maybe undo it. So yeah, basically you get the gist of it. You just can kind of come in here and mess around with things, and of course it's non-destructive, so you're not destroying anything. So if you hit refresh, you'll get the site back. So I encourage everybody to mess around and as you're developing too on your site, if you can't get something to work, instead of like going to your code editor and editing something and saving it and then going over to the browser and refreshing it, pull up your work in the browser, open up DevTools, and start to like pop in some CSS styles, add some elements, stuff like that, and see what happens to the page when you do that. So we don't want to spend too much time on this. We want to get going on positioning. So anybody have any questions about that? Okay.
So really quick, as far as why you guys want to use Google Inspect, especially when you're playing around with CSS, as first of all, I saw a number of you already using Google Inspect, which is very, very good. But as you are playing around with CSS specifically in this situation, so you don't have to keep going, as John said, so you don't have to keep going back and forth, changing CSS, then refresh the page. You can just change the CSS in Google Inspect, and it will reflect right away in the browser. Okay, so it's just, pro tip, more efficient, and it shows you a live representation of what you're doing, what you're changing, as you change it, so you don't have to keep going back and forth.
And like I said, if you go to Google's website, they have docs for this. They have a whole developer section on the Google website. They have videos, and they really try to like build out the learning section when it comes to development tools, because they're first and foremost evangelists for the browser. They create the browser, which is the main environment that we work out of. So they're definitely somebody to follow. Mozilla is another one. Those are just like your hard references. Like, if you're going to go anywhere to get any kind of information about websites, about the browser, Mozilla and Mozilla Firefox and Chrome are definitely those are the top dogs. Okay, so CSS positioning. So let's go to this slide. Position, static, default, normal, flow. So what kind of elements are these just by looking at it? What kind of elements? Divs, yeah. What kind of element is a div? What kind of properties does it have? It's a block element. So we have 4 block elements, and by default, block elements, they stack on top of each other. That's the normal flow of block elements. That's what the browser wants it to do. The browser interprets from the top to the bottom of the page. For the purposes of this exercise, we have to imagine that these 4 block elements are nested inside of a parent block element. What's another name for a parent? An ancestor. These 4 block elements are children of the parent. What's another name for a child? A descendant. So we want to change this. We've also called this ugly and awful. We have CSS, we want to make it pretty. I start to feel really bad for these block elements and for the normal flow of the page. What can we say that's good about this? What can we say that's good about this order? Who doesn't use CSS colors and layouts when they view the internet? Who's ever heard of accessibility? Yeah. All right. The visually impaired, they're not going to need your CSS. They're not going to need your layout. What are they going to use to look at your website? Or not look, I shouldn't say that. What are they going to use to experience your site? They're going to use a screen reader. What is the screen reader going to use to interpret your document? It's going to use your HTML elements. If your HTML elements aren't in order, then you're going to confuse that visually impaired person. They're going to have a bad experience. Your website's not going to be accessible. When we get a website, we have to go to a server. We have to get that information. What if your website loads into the browser and it doesn't load your CSS rules? What happens then? The person who's experiencing your site, they're not going to see any of your colors in your layout. They're just going to see the order of your elements. If the order of your elements are out of order, they're going to be confused. They're not going to have a good experience. So when we go to write CSS, we want to think about the HTML order, and we want to think about the normal flow of the document because it's important. And the more we think about the order of our document and the structure of our document, when you go to write your CSS rules, the less CSS you're going to have to write to make it look the way you want it to look. Because your document, you're going to already be working with a very orderly document to begin with. So I wanted to drive that point home because often as developers, we overlook the HTML and we just want to hop into the cool stuff, which is the CSS and the JavaScript. But the HTML, we really need that foundation, and we really need to think about that before we can make something really look good and something really work well for everybody. So let's apply some CSS rules. What just happened here? So for each box, we wrote relative. Or if this is the main box, this is the main parent. And each one of these has a box class to it. And we have box 1, 2, 3, I don't know why I don't include 4 on the site. So, but what is it moving relative to? We just talked about the normal flow. We just talked about how the boxes want to flow one on top of each other. So when we move this box from the top and from the left, and this box -10 over from the left and right 20, we're moving it relative to the natural place it wants to be. We're disrupting the order. Just like when we were floating elements, we're creating chaos on the page. But that's what we have to do in order to get things to move around and do what we want it to do. Because we're saying, here are the rules. Forget about your flow. Listen to these rules.
Yeah, and just to add real quick, one thing you guys do not see,
Yeah.
One thing you guys do not see is that each and every single one of those boxes, it has a relative position on the CSS property associated with it. You see that the very top box, which is the period box on the CSS side, that is the parent element. So each and every other box 1, 2, and 3, those also receive relative position from its parent element.
The parent is saying to the children, I want you to be positioned relative to me, however you are, top, left, bottom, and right. I want you to be positioned to me inside. If it wasn't here, then, well, what is the parent element being positioned to relative? It's the browser. The browser is the main position in which all the elements are positioned. And if you put in which a parent container is positioned.
Which box is actually the parent box, or is it box 1?
We don't see the parent in this example, but you just have to imagine the parent is engulfing
That
it.
gray area could be.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
How do you specify that box 1, 2, and 3 are children box?
So they're going to be nested inside the HTML, the box element. Yeah. So when you have a block element nested inside of another block element, you indent it.